You couldn't hear that. It's how do you write characters with whom you don't share too many obvious traits, right?
Right. Well, you try and look for something that you do share with them. Like, with Natalie's character, I share a lot of paranoia and a lot of, fear and running around and thinking that things are going on. So I can link into that. Yeah, it's hard. I've never wanted to, the one thing I used to say I'll never write is a movie about the Black experience in America. But I'm such a whore. This producer came to me with this James Brown project, and and I can say yes to James Brown because I can hook into the crazy experience of James Brown, more so than his race or his background being poor and in the South. So yeah, you look for things.
Yes, sir. With the cap.
In your experience, what percentage of your relationships with directors have been adversarial versus collaborative?
Adversarial versus collaborative relationships with directors.
Usually it's very, very collaborative because well, it depends. If they're already attached to the project, then they've approved you and they know the way you write and they know who you are. If they're brought on later, that can sometimes be a problem, but it isn't a fight a writer is going to win, because if they're hiring a director, the writer goes away then. You go away. So there isn't, if it's not adversarial, it'll just be, they just won't call you.
It'd be nothing. It's collaborative or nothing because you're fired?
Yeah. You don't get to collaborate anymore after you get fired.
Yes.
From your past success in writing psychological thrillers, do you feel that you've gotten stuck in the genre, or do you just continue to write psychological thrillers?
Are you stuck in writing psychological thrillers?
Yeah, in
That genre.
Or do you just continue to write these type of films?
Yeah, that's a really good question, because Hollywood isn't a very imaginative place, and if you've done something and had success with it, then they want you to do it again, and that goes for actors and writers and directors. It's funny, my first script was called Magnet Head that I sold to Warner Brothers, and 2 weeks later they offered me the rewrite of The Iron Giant, and I realized because they thought iron magnets, it has to be said, because they make these links, and yeah, it's hard to bust out of that, but I do try and work with a lot of different people on different things, and your agents will do the same thing when they want, because they know you can make money and they know they can sell you.
Well, it sounds like the Parker thing is not really a psychological thing. That's an action detective noir thing, so that's a little different. I just want to get to one question that I have to make sure we get in is, what is your best work? And I'm curious of whether you think it's The Black Swan or whether it's something else. What are you most proud of the films that you've written?
I have two. One is called, and neither have been made. One is called Seven Holes for Air, and one is called the Death of Houdini. I don't even know what it's called. I have a Houdini picture, and I have Seven Holes for Air.
So tell us, what are they?
The Houdini picture is the last 2 years of his life. It's very hard to make because it's a period movie and people don't want to spend a lot of money. And it's mostly about his relationship with the psychic Marjorie, who I got to meet her great-granddaughter and talk a lot about Marjorie and this very strange kind of relationship that they had. And Seven Holes for Air, it's complex storytelling, which I like, which I don't get to do if I write for someone for money, because they they don't want to complicate it. So it's a very complicated story, and it was pretty personal, so it was more fun.
And what is that story?
It's a guy, he's dying of cancer, and at the same time he's living out his life as a spaghetti western. So you go between the western and his life, and you also are going through his entire childhood too. So you get 3 platforms to learn about one character and the people around him, and it's a lot of fun.
Well, good. Well, hopefully we will see those. I think we've got to wrap it up. Thank you very much for coming. Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, for coming.